I'm just gonna try out a new bit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, just with some jokes.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe that loosens this up. You know, there's an election going on in Canada.
Really?
Yeah. You ever wondered, what party famous fictional Canadian characters would vote for? Ever thought about that?
Who fictional characters would vote for? Oh, that's an interesting question.
You don't seem that interested. You're gonna hear it anyway.
No, I am interested.
The raccoons,
Yeah.
they vote for the Green Party
Mm-hmm.
because they're one issue voters.
Yeah.
David Rose from Schitt's Creek?
Yeah.
He votes NDP
Definitely.
because he looks good in orange.
Oh, okay. Well, he only wears black and white, so I don't know about that.
I saw a picture of him wearing a black and orange sweater.
Oh, okay.
He's socially progressive, but also very into, quote, aesthetic programs, like government grants for moisturizers.
I think we should have that in Alberta, actually.
We actually need that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
it's very dry.
Yeah, that's a good point. Wayne from Letterkenny?
Mm-hmm.
He votes Liberal, even though he doesn't like them. Then he spends 4 years calling them a real piece of work.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's like a lot of Canada.
Yeah.
Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. He votes for the Bloc Québécois because he thinks the word sovereignty means he gets to be king.
Mm.
Did you know Wolverine is Canadian?
Like the character?
The Marvel character.
Yeah, like not the actor, but the character.
No, the actor is Australian.
Okay, but his backstory is that he came from Canada?
In Marvel, what do they call it? Canon?
Yeah.
He's from Canada.
Oh, okay.
He was also born in like 1837 or something.
Okay.
Anyway, he votes conservative. Do you know why?
No.
Because he's from Alberta.
Yes.
Yeah, he's from northern Alberta.
Yeah, I guess he's a Wolverine.
Yeah, there's funny, like looking this up on the internet, people will argue about anything, of course. Mm-hmm. So on Reddit, there was a string that was like, I don't understand why Wolverine's considered Canadian because he was born in 1830 something and Canada didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
All right.
What about Anne of Green Gables? Any thoughts on?
Well, she would vote for the Green Party because it's in her name.
That's true. Well, her name's not like Green Gables isn't part of her name.
Anne of Green Gables.
That's not her actual given name. I don't know if you knew that.
Still think she probably votes for the Greens.
I think she votes Liberal.
Why?
Because everyone around her votes conservative, and to them, voting Liberal is like shockingly progressive.
This is like actually what's in the novel.
Yeah. So I think like she's shockingly progressive compared to the other characters.
Conservative and liberal didn't mean that in like, the
but
1890s.
But if they were the parties that they are now.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You can just throw mine out whenever.
Sorry. I am reasoning with you.
Whatever, Aaron.
It's just, no, but I said that just because you brought in the actual context of the novel where they do talk about politics.
Yeah.
Like they are conservative because
they're very conservative.
Because it was like the conservatives created Canada, right? Mm-hmm. And liberals at the time were actually a Western party. They were like...
Look, Aaron, she'd vote conservative probably. That's the truth.
Depends how old she is.
Yeah, I guess she changed her mind throughout her life. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's one joke.
It's not really a joke. Oh, I thought you meant the Anne of Green Gables part. Yours were jokes. Mine wasn't.
Hey, did you know that it's election time in Canada, Naomi? Have you noticed?
I did notice that.
Yeah, it's nice. Election time's fun sometimes because we get some promises, some goodies. For example, didn't know if you know this, they've scrapped the GST for first-time home buyers.
Really?
Yeah. Now for that starter home in Toronto, you only need to come up with $999,999 instead of $1,049,999.
Cool.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty nice to get rid of the GST on first-time homes.
Yeah. That'll
But-
really make a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Well, removing the GST from home purchases is kind of like giving someone a 5% coupon for a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you buy a Lamborghini, Naomi?
No.
Would you be able to use that coupon?
No.
Unfor-
Thanks for that.
Unfortunately, to buy that first home, you'll still need a sizable inheritance from a well-to-do but childless uncle who no one in the family ever discussed for some reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe to get that first home,
Yeah.
what'll happen is this.
Mm-hmm.
You'll do a good deed for a pauper.
Pauper.
Yeah. Pauper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was actually a king in disguise,
Right.
wandering his lands
Yeah. Yeah.
to discover who among his subjects was pure of heart.
Yeah.
And then he'll richly reward you
Okay.
with a 2-bedroom condo built in 1986
Well, that's how I got this place.
that badly needs a reno,
Mm-hmm.
which he's not going to cover that.
Well, this place was built in 1976.
Yeah.
This is our
Yeah,
first
but
home.
a king didn't give it to you.
You don't know that. I had it before I met you. You don't know how I got it.
Yeah. Anyway.
But Aaron, that would only be if I was pure of heart. I'm not.
Okay.
I probably
I
wouldn't
think
be nice enough.
you're purest of heart of almost anybody I know.
But not pure enough.
Except
I'm not gonna lie, you're right.
What?
You're right about that.
Yeah.
But I'm still not pure of heart enough.
To get a free 2-bedroom condo from 1986.
Yeah, we were hanging out once with our group of friends, and one person did this test on everyone to see how much of a psychopath everyone was.
Mm-hmm.
And I scored least psychopath
Yeah.
of all our friends.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why I fell in love with you.
But wait a minute, how much of a psychopath were you?
I
Do
don't
you
recall,
remember?
actually.
Okay.
Naomi,
Yeah.
now that there's no GST, I think you should go out and buy 2 first houses.
Okay. But but
Let's
All right.
see here.
Nice.
Let's
I mean, it
see.
was all right.
It was okay. It was okay. I think that's all I've got there.
Okay. Well, you're working on your joke writing.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Fun putting some of those up on the old internet.
Yeah. I didn't know that about the GST. That's
Mm-hmm.
quite a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did we want to talk about this week? We wanted to talk about
Canadian
bacon.
bacon. What do you think about Canadian bacon?
Well, we've been shaking our Canadian bacon all week, haven't we?
Shaking our bacon?
Shaking our Canadian
What does
bacon.
that mean?
Shake your bacon.
I never
Shaking
heard
your
that.
bacon.
Don't know it.
It means dancing, I believe.
Oh,
To shake your bacon.
okay. I didn't know that.
Never heard that.
No.
You've never heard that expression?
No, one time when I was a kid, like a teenager, my friend called and I guess my sister answered. And my friend asked to talk to me. And my sister was like, oh, she can't come to the phone. She's making bacon.
Making bacon?
Yeah. And then, which I was
You were.
I was making bacon.
Yeah.
I was cooking up some bacon.
Yeah.
And then later my friend was like, she realize that means like getting it on, making bacon? And I was
I've
like,
never heard of that.
never heard of that.
I've heard shaking your
So
bacon.
you got making and you got shaken.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about either.
There's a lot of fun rhymes with bacon.
What else? Bacon. Bacon.
Would you bring home the bacon as well?
You bring home the bacon for sure.
Or these days, someone might deliver it, like from Loblaws.
Yeah, that's true.
Delivery apps.
So that they would be bringing you the bacon to your home.
Bringing to your home the bacon.
Bringing home bacon to other people.
Loblaws hire me as an ad writer.
Yeah.
I'll be your Don Draper. bringing to your home the bacon.
Yeah. Like what's really funny is that I remember that incident with the phone call, but I don't remember cooking very much when I was living with my parents. So I must have just randomly just decided to cook a package of bacon. Which is a strange thing.
Isn't there bacon in there right now?
In the freezer.
It's okay. Yeah, it's
So every now and then we eat a couple of rashers of bacon.
hardly ever.
Hardly ever, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit weird about it because of Few reasons. One, pigs. They're nice.
Yeah, they're nice animals.
Two, all animals.
Yeah,
I'm not really convinced.
Let's just not. Oh, if someone's voting for the Green Party.
3, the whole thing with my hit backgrounds and
sure, it's trafe.
Yeah, it's not considered above board.
Yes.
By a certain.
It's not kosher.
Certain someone in the sky.
It's very much not kosher.
Well, a lot of Jews, including my grandparents, were like, "Yeah, you can't eat pork, but bacon is its own thing.
It's really good." It kind of depends how good it is. How good
it's considered its own separate animal.
Yeah, it depends how. Prosciutto.
Well, okay, we're really off on a tangent here about bacon.
That's all this is a tangent.
So Canadian Bacon is a movie
from 1995.
We watched it last night.
By Michael Moore, so famous documentarian, liberal, political, and this was, I believe, his only fictional film he ever made.
That is correct. And he made this film, in 1995, starring John Candy,
Rhea Perlman,
Rip Torn.
Rip Torn as a crazy American general.
Yeah.
And Alan Alda as an American president.
Hapless American president.
Who's likable because it's Alan Alda.
Yeah.
So
he's likable but hapless.
Yes. He's actually the most likable person in the movie, really.
Yeah, vibe-wise.
Yeah. It's a very strange movie. I do remember when it came out. Because it's set in Niagara Falls, New York, and Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cross-river action.
And you're from right around there.
I'm from the Niagara region, and I remember I was in high school when this came out, and I thought, there's this movie about Canada and Niagara, and it's like a big...
But you didn't see it?
Big Hollywood movie. I didn't go to the theaters to see it. Probably a couple years later.
You had seen it. Okay. I thought we saw it for the first time yesterday.
I think I saw it on TV at some point.
Okay.
It would have been a few years later. And I don't know if it would have counted as it's a weird movie. It would have counted as Canadian content because it is.
It's not Canadian.
It's not a Canadian movie at all.
No.
I mean, that's what is kind of what surprised me when I saw it when I was a kid is that, this is an American movie.
Making fun of Canada.
Making fun of Canada, among other things.
Yeah.
Not that it isn't funny. Some of it's quite funny.
It's making fun of the version of Canada that only exists in Canadian.
In American
minds. And making fun of, satirizing that idea.
Yeah, but it's really more satire of American political culture.
I mean, it's kind of like South Park, right? The way that South Park uses Canada as this, joke.
Yeah.
But it's not really making fun of Canada. It's making fun of what Americans think of Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody making the movie actually thinks that Canada's like that, I assume.
Well, it's really hard to pin down. I do think it doesn't care that much about what Canada's really like.
Right. That's
it doesn't know or care.
Right.
It's mostly just about making fun of American politics.
Yes.
And
yes.
especially this is in the mid-90s, so it's after the Cold War.
Yeah.
And the theme here is American militarization.
Yeah.
So the economy is crashing, and this factory
munitions factory
in Niagara Falls, New York, has closed down because there's no more war.
Yeah.
And so
they need a war.
And so they kind of think about what is a low...
And the president needs a war for his...
approval ratings.
Yeah.
So what's a low risk?
What's the silliest possible war is basically the premise.
Yeah. I mean, and what they're thinking, the characters are thinking is what's the easiest war?
Yeah.
It'll be Canada.
Yeah.
And so John Candy and Rhea Perlman are these New York... These Niagara Falls, New York, small town sheriffs who are dupes. They're complete idiots, and they're totally duped by this fake war. And they're extremely patriotic, and they think they're going to defend the United States against the invading Canadians. And they also foray across the Niagara River to litter in Ontario.
Yeah.
And they encounter Mounties and things like that. And I think really the target of the satire is more American political culture, gun culture. Everybody buys guns and missiles from the closing factory because it's like a clearance sale,
an auction.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other things, and there's a lot of very funny moments in the movie.
Yeah. So you fell asleep while we were watching it. You missed two really good gags. You want to know what they were?
Okay, yeah, it doesn't really matter the order that things happen, really. I mean, okay, go ahead, you tell me.
Okay, so when John Candy, Rhea Perlman, and the other guy, their third sidekick, go to the States to like, oh no, wait a minute, it's the three cops who are all men, and Rhea Perlman's character has been held hostage in Canada,
Right.
but she's actually being given a free mental health check.
Right.
They think she's a hostage, but she's actually being given free health care.
I mean, they left her behind when they raided Canada to
litter. Yeah.
And they're like, she was captured. It's like they literally just forgot her.
So now she's been shipped off to this mental health facility in Ottawa.
Right.
But they think she's in Toronto because they don't
know
that Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So first of all, they steal the RCMP truck.
Okay.
And they're driving it, and they've written all this like anti-Canadian graffiti on the side of the truck.
It's not very smart.
Like Canada sucks.
Not
and, like,
very smart.
Eat my shorts, Canada. And stuff.
On your like foray into enemy territory, anyway.
So they get pulled over by a cop on a motorcycle, and it's Dan Aykroyd, and he makes John Candy get out of the truck, and they look at the side of the truck, and he's like, "What's wrong with this picture?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, what I'm worried about is our Quebecois friends." So he's offended that he's like, it's illegal that this is in English and not French.
This graffiti needs to be bilingual.
Yeah, so he gives him a can of spray paint, and he has to write all the slogans in French.
As well, and he sits there watching.
Well, no, you don't see that part.
Oh, okay.
You just see them continuing on, and now
With
it's
the
in
French.
Yeah, so that's
a good gag.
That was a good gag. And then also during that period when you were asleep, you see Rhea Perlman, Honey is her name, wake up in the mental health facility, and she's like covered in teddy bears and, like giant stuffed animals. And the one next to her has a card from the Prime Minister of Canada saying like, "I hope you get well soon."
I mean, if only, right?
And then she looks out the window, and there's nothing other but like a field, like an expanse of snow with a dog sled going by. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm in Ottawa." and then these two like kids come in, and they're candy stripers, and they're like, "Oh, well, you won't be seeing a doctor until 2026. But for now you have us, so we're here to cheer you up."
So they made a joke about wait times?
Yeah. They said our universal healthcare system has determined that you will require a doctor in 2026.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she ties them to the chairs and steals their outfits and gets away.
Okay.
And goes to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie of gags.
Yes.
A lot of the gags are funny.
I think that one with the French graffiti was one of the best gags.
I mean, John Candy's just funny. Whenever he's on screen, like you are enjoying it. He's fun to watch. Alan Alda's Mr. Nice Guy. Rip Torn, I found like I love Rip Torn. Like he's so funny, and that you think that role as a warmongering general he'd really pop in that. And the lines he gets, he delivers well. But it's like I was expecting for him to have some more of a scene or something. He never really does.
He didn't get to do enough.
He didn't get to do enough given like how good he is.
Yeah. Remember in Freddy Got Fingered and he is the dad?
Yeah, he's the dad.
That was so funny.
Yeah, Daddy, do you want some sausage?
Yeah. That was it.
And he's the daddy.
He's the daddy.
Tom Green is asking that too.
Oh, yes. Daddy, do you want some sausage?
Okay.
Or would you like some sausage?
Would you like some sausage? I think Freddy Got Fingered probably about 5 years after this movie. So Michael Moore never made another fictional film. Like I didn't look up how this did. Like it certainly was known in Canada because it was about Canada. This big Hollywood movie that was explicitly about Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know how much American audiences cared about this.
Yeah, we were all excited that like we got mentioned as
Probably.
like existing.
It's like one of the more pathetic parts of
being Canadian. So, and the only part that I remember, I don't think I ever saw it, but I was, for some reason, maybe this is a trailer, was when they're driving in the truck and they're like, "Born in the USA."
Oh, are they?
And then they just keep, I guess you were asleep for that too. And then they just keep saying that one line over and over.
Do they?
And over and over. And then they pause and they're like, "Born in the USA."
Of course, they get away with all the anti with the Canadian stereotypes. I mean, they're making fun of the stereotypes
Yeah.
as well as kind of making fun of Canada, whatever.
Yeah.
Or really, but as I said, more making fun of American ideas of Canada.
Yeah.
But they get away with it because it's John Candy is like
He is
like
Canadian,
one of the
yeah.
main American guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
everyone knows John Candy is Canadian,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he can
There
get
was
away with
one
it.
moment that hit a little too close to home.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where they go to the CN Tower features largely.
Yeah, yeah,
And the plot.
and the climax, yeah.
And they get to the CN Tower and they have to get up to the top because stuff is happening. And they're pushing through the crowd and John Candy's like, out of my way, out of the way. And all the people are like, oh, sorry. Excuse me, sorry. Oh, sorry. Like that, totally. We do that. We
Really?
actually do that.
When you're pushing?
Canadians, if someone bumps into you, you're like, sorry. I do it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I exist. Sorry, I'm in your way. Why do we do that? It's insane.
I don't know. Maybe you're nicer than me. I don't know if I do that. I do that if
I know,
I'm,
you
if I'm
probably
pushing
don't.
someone else out of the way. I say
Like,
sorry.
sorry.
Sorry, excuse me. If someone bumps into me, I'm more like, huh? What the hell? I don't know. So I know that Naomi mentioned 3 or 4 times that I was asleep, but during the movie, but I did see most of it. I saw definitely the first third.
Oh, you did see most
and
of
the
it,
final
yeah.
third. The middle third, I did doze. It was listen, I'm a hardworking man. This was after work, after
And you
dinner.
have to be lying down while watching.
Yeah, and if I lie down during the movie, I am going to be a goner for 20 minutes probably.
Fair.
But-
you had just eaten.
The movie, I find, a gag I liked, it was just when the Americans were drumming up the anti-Canadian sentiment using the media, dropping false information.
Yeah.
Like this is a commentary on actual like false flag operations. There was a reference to the Gulf of Tonkin, which is how the Vietnam War got approved by Congress.
Oh, yeah.
It was, famous false flags. And they were doing that for Canada. And it was really funny, a scene where Alan Alda is like watching television. And there's this news segment about like the threat, the syrupy threat from Canada. And it's just like a picture of like the map, Canada and the United States. And it's like syrup is like running down the map, like from Canada into the United States.
It says like maple syrup evil is oozing down.
Yeah, and Alan
Yeah.
Alda's like loving it. He's like, I love it. Everybody hates that feeling of syrup on your fingers. It really works. And it was just funny, like ominous music.
Yeah.
That was a funny gag. It is all gags though. Like none of
A
the
line in the snow, they call the war.
a line in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess what I find a movie like this though, I ultimately find, even though it's funny, like I ultimately find it very dark and kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Because you don't, it's in this movie too, like maybe it's just like it wasn't, Michael Moore not known for his fictional filmmaking.
No.
Like none of the characters feel real.
No, I mean, it's satire.
But it's satire at the level where even the characters themselves, even your POV character, is really deeply satirical.
Oh, sure.
So that they're undermined at almost every turn.
Yeah.
You don't really feel like attached, like empathy for them.
No.
You're not allowed to. The point is the movie's not letting you.
No.
And so
They're just silly. They're not people.
a movie like that is like upsetting to me, like on an existential level, because it's like, oh, like the world is full of hollow, self-interested and silly people who make trouble. And like that's kind of the worldview of a satire of this type, Like I guess is Kurt Vonnegut stuff kind of like that? Like I don't know.
Not to the point.
Like there could be a world where things are messed up in a lot of the characters, but there's like at least a point of view character who anchors you a little bit.
Yes.
And they tried to do that with Alan Alda because just as an actor, he's a nice guy who it is easy to like.
But he's a nincompoop as the president.
As the longer you're with Alan Alda in any scene, you're like, wait a minute, this is all your fault, man. Like, but at the
But
very
also he has no idea how to be president. You're like, how would this guy even get to this point?
Yeah,
It makes no sense.
So there's a threat of a nuclear war. It's very convoluted how this is happening. But in the end, Alan Alda's like, okay, we surrender to the Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So it's a joke, of course, that the United States lost the war to Canada.
Yes.
But through their own incompetence. But also, like, at least, he is willing to avert nuclear disaster.
Yeah.
And take a loss in the war with Canada. So I guess that's supposed to be redeeming about him.
I guess so.
Yeah. I just found like as a kid, when I was watching, I think it was on TV, I definitely didn't watch it all because I found it very off-putting. And
Yeah.
I remember that feeling again last night watching it. I'm like, this bothers me a lot.
Yeah. It is a dark view of the world.
It's a dark
course,
view
yeah.
of the world. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
different kinds of satire.
Like cynical, like incredibly cynical. Yeah.
Extremely, yeah.
And that is Michael Moore.
I guess so, but you see it in a documentary instead, right? So,
Yeah.
But it's different because you're not you don't have to create a fictional universe. You're assuming a lot of
But I'm just saying, like,
reality as
it
it
makes
is.
sense that if Michael Moore, like the fact that Michael Moore made a film, a fictional film, and that was it.
Mhm.
Like, if he were to write a story, that would be the story.
Maybe there's another fictional film. I didn't look it up.
No,
honestly.
I did look it up.
Oh, okay.
There isn't another one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, why are we talking about this now? Obviously, because Canada's in the crosshairs, seemingly, in a strangely tense and weird situation now with the United States.
Yeah.
And the rhetoric that they actually do want to take us over.
And it's like, I mean, the satire here that it would be so silly for anybody
to antagonize
Canada. There's no reason to.
We're
threat.
too nice.
They're too nice. There were no threat.
Yeah.
It's actually,
happening.
it's actually happened where a big portion of American politics is like basically because Trump decided to start talking about it.
Yeah.
Is like, yeah, Canada, they're terrible. Like,
And
for various
and
reasons.
Panama, I like in terms of wanting to annex.
Yeah, but you know, if you're online at all and you post anything that has Canadian content in it, like I have been recently, you'll get the wayward comment from clearly an American conservative who's just like, "You guys are losers." Like you guys are, yeah. And it's just like, dude, this isn't the stuff I'm posting.
Like, just accept you're actually American.
Yeah, just accept that you suck, and you're just like, what world do you live in where people would ever like be okay with being talked to that way, you know?
And Trump called us, said we were the nastiest country. Did you know
the nastiest. Yeah, it is funny.
I mean, it is this movie come to life in
part of it.
Kind of.
Yeah,
right?
It's not a Trumpian president, but in the movie.
But the actually trying to make Americans turn on Canada.
Well, I mean, Trump has such a, he's such
it's
a big.
Not funny, but it is.
He has such a reach.
Shocking.
He has such a reach and he's such a good communicator. Like he gets his ideas across really well. That people are buying it, that people never thought about Canada before, but it's just like, Trudeau was a liberal menace. And so in the eyes of conservatives in a lot of places, including the States, it was like, that made Canada really.
But I mean, obviously there's a reason we're talking about this now.
Yeah. It's like, like a lot of things that were once just pure satire have become reality.
Yeah.
And it's really, it can be surprising to look back.
Yeah. Like what seems so far-fetched.
Yeah, I have to say, if anything, the satire is blunted because you're looking back at this world where Americans are getting riled up against Canada. And you're just like, actually, we're living in that world right now where a lot of Americans are riled up against Canada and vice versa. And you're just like, wow, it actually happened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So why is it called Canadian Bacon? I guess it's just a funny Canadian reference for the title. It's the name of the operation as well. Like the war with Canada is like
it's a line in the snow. I guess a line in the snow is what they're calling like the news coverage.
The news coverage is that's the name of their segment.
Yeah. And Canadian Bacon is the operation. But yeah, I always thought it was like calling cops.
There's no Canadian cop. I mean, there's the Mounties.
Yeah, it's the American cops.
Yeah, I think it's just a funny phrase that has
I guess so.
Canadian in it.
Yeah,
that's all.
I guess that's right.
We did start the podcast making fun of the phrase several times, so it is quite laden with meaning.
Yeah,
as well as trans fats. Yeah. So
should I make us some bacon to enjoy after this?
I'm not sure. We'll see. But anyway, that's it. We've done our time, Naomi. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for talking about Canadian bacon.
Thanks for talking about Canadian bacon with me. Bye.